They took Ireland's most iconic whiskey and drenched it in Spanish sweet sherry, and the results, I will tell you, are not what I was expecting. Welcome back to another episode of the Redbreast Diaries, where I have been looking at everything surrounding the iconic Redbreast Irish whiskey brand. Today's Redbreast whiskey is part of their Iberian Series. This is a group of whiskies that have been finished off in the last couple of years of its maturation in like sherry casks, and some of the flavors are unique, some of them are wonderful, some of them maybe not so wonderful. So without further ado, let's jump into today's whiskey, which is Redbreast PX Edition. So the PX stands for Pedro Ximénez, which is a Spanish style sherry from the Andalusia region in Jerez in Spain. And on the back of the box here, it just says that this has been finished for a minimum of 12 months in that Pedro Ximénez hogshead cask, so quite a big cask this one has been finished off in. Now, in terms of what PX or Pedro Ximénez will bring to a whiskey, as a sherry goes, Pedro Ximénez is typically like sweet figs, raisin, like quite sticky, syrupy, indulgent sort of flavors. So if that comes out in this whiskey, we could be in for a treat. And look at that wonderful bottle there. Beautiful colorway. And the wee Robin Redbreast is just wings down. It is absolutely going for it. Lovely. Up there you've got that little Iberian Series stamp. Also on the label it says single pot still. And that means that the mash bill or the recipe for this whiskey is at least 30% unmalted barley and at least 30% malted barley, and then you can use like 5% other grains in there as well. It's quite a traditional Irish style, right? It's one of those things that we hang our hat on. But Redbreast is, some would say, the quintessential single pot still. There it says Irish whiskey, so that means it has to be aged for a minimum of 3 years on the island of Ireland. It has to be aged in wooden barrels such as oak for that time, bottled at minimum 40% ABV or 80 proof. And there is a couple of other laws there, but they're the kind of top line ones. Also here, Pedro Ximénez edition, some taste notes around it, product of Ireland, lovely, lovely. And then on the back, just some very nice taste notes as well. And this one comes in at 46% ABV, or that is 92 proof. And this whiskey was distilled down in the Middleton Distillery in County Cork. They also make Jameson, Powers, Method of Madness, Middleton Very Rare, and of course Redbreast. Great, they know what they're doing. After this has been triple distilled, it is aged in a couple of different casks. We've got our ex-bourbon cask. Sometimes that gives like a beautiful vanilla note. Then we've got our Oloroso sherry butt as well, that this has influenced this whiskey. Very typical for a Redbreast to have those two together. But like I said, it's those final 12 months or so that changes this whiskey, and that is because it's in that Pedro Ximénez cask. Now, some of you may know Redbreast 12-year-olds. There is no age statement on this whiskey, all right? So there is no official age statement. It says it's an Irish whiskey, so that must be a minimum of 3 years. But something tells me that this whiskey is probably a lot older than that. And I think I remember this whiskey coming out as like a limited edition small batch. But you can get this. This is now more in their core range, that Iberian range, which is pretty cool. But let's see if it's worth staying in their core range today and worth you putting your hand in your pocket and paying for this one and putting it on your shelf at home. And because this is a box fresh bottle of whiskey, we gotta rate that pop. Yes, folks, we gotta see, is their pop top? Is this one kind of annoying? That thing just fell apart on me. There we go, got there in the end. So let's rate that Redbreast PX pop. Ho, ho, ho! There was a squeak. I wasn't sure it was going to be so good, but that was unbelievable. That was like getting my welly boot stuck in the muck and then pulling it out all in one go. Definitely up there for top of the pops. Oh yes, that nose is like a sweet, sugary mulled wine. It's decadent. It actually smells like it's an old whiskey, or that there's definitely an old component in this. It's got this like really, really like oaky richness to it as well, with some butterscotch in there, maybe some malt as well. But overall, there's this like, like raspberry tart sort of element coming out. Now, if that nose is anything to go by, this could be a tasty wee drop. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. So it's 46%, but this was very, very light in the palate. And instantly just hit my tongue with this big, sugary, syrupy note with like an orange marmalade, raspberry jam sort of thing. It was like a clash, but like that syrup is more how big the mouth feel is. No, it still does have that like Redbreast sort of DNA, but it definitely is more sweet and fruit led maybe than some other Redbreasts. Like that raspberry compote sort of vanilla ice cream swirl sort of thing that's going on is just popping off my tongue. You do get that classic vanilla hit, that wafery vanilla that you would expect from something that's been aged in an ex bourbon, but that PX hogshead really seems to have been doing quite a lot of work right at the end. I'll go in for another sip. Smell it. Oh, here. I just get like milk chocolate and toasted almonds. That's like a totally different aroma and taste there now. Oh yeah, it's just evolving now. A few of those other flavors are coming back. So there's raspberries, there's milk chocolate, there's some almonds in there. It's like a nugget as well, like nougat. That jammy note's coming back now again. There's not so much of that single pot still spice that you would expect from a Redbreast. That white black pepper. There's a wee prickle of it, but this sweetness really is taking center stage, and it's carrying those flavors in a sweet way. But don't think it's over sweetened. I actually don't think. I think it's actually incredibly balanced sweetness. Oh, maybe a wee touch of menthol just there. Hmm. But that that sweetness is actually very, very well balanced, because alcohol carries flavor in cooking, sugar, salt, acid carry flavor, and I think here the alcohol and the sugar have actually been balanced out very, very well. It's a wee bit like sticky, but like luxurious and sticky. You get what I mean? Now, with some of the other whiskies, I have been adding water, but at 46%, I think I did that with the Lestau and it did not go well. I just didn't enjoy it. I ruined a whole glass of whiskey because I added water to it. So I'm not going to add water to this one. I think this is like very, very approachable, very well balanced, and just kind of perfect the way it is. So I'm not going to add water to this whiskey. But you can at home. Maybe you've had it at home with water and it's better. Let me know in the comments. Ronan, you're wrong. You should have added Ishka water to your Ishkabaha, your Irish whiskey. The finish though overall, right, although there's some of those flavors coming through, it definitely is on the shorter side of medium. And that would also lead me to believe that it isn't an old whiskey. There isn't old components to this. But that freshness that younger whiskies can bring to the table, maybe allow those like big, bright aromas and flavors to come through really nicely. Now, should you buy this whiskey? I reckon you should, right? If you're a fan of Irish whiskey or a Redbreast fan or a fan of whiskey, right? I reckon this would be a fantastic one to have because you could have this after dinner as those evenings are getting darker into winter and fall. But you could just go down to your local whiskey bar and give it a try because there is layers, it is complex, but it is absolutely dripping in dessert flavors. All right, it is just drenched in decadence, and I have a lot of time for that. All right, I think those are the sort of flavors that we should be pulling out of some other whiskies. All right, so definitely a bit of a fanboy over here for the Redbreast PX. I think there is a place for it in the range and on your shelf. Yeah, it does definitely lack that like complex age that you could go back to again and again and get loads of stuff. But oh yes, those tutti fruity raspberry vanilla notes Class, right? That's lovely. Maybe a touch of molasses at the end as well. Maybe there's more to it than I have yet to find. But yes, that is Redbreast PX from their Iberian series. I like that one. It'll be interesting now to see how this fits in the Iberian series range. In a couple of weeks, I will be doing the video of all of the Iberian series side by side. So if you are keen to watch that, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. I've already done one on the Lostau finish, so go and check that one out. And again, thanks so much for watching and following along with the Redbreast Diaries. And until next time, sláinte, slán. Oh, delicious. See you later.